Hey guys, it's Kat, and I'm back with another video, except this time I don't have a full face of makeup because in reality I rarely wear makeup anymore and I just didn't feel like doing it. Honestly, I haven't felt like doing anything, but I'm pretty sure that just summarizes how I felt throughout my whole pregnancy. Moving on. So this is going to be the story of how I told everyone I was pregnant at 17. So I'm not really going to explain too much on how I found out because I want to make a whole video on how I found out and my thoughts on it and why I was very skeptical of it. So January 1st is when I decided to finally go ahead and take a pregnancy test after missing my period for like 2 or 3 weeks. And it was the evening of January 1st, which isn't really important to this. I just figured I'd mention it. First got the pregnancy tests that have the lines. I absolutely do not recommend getting those because most of the time you can be like, is that a line? Is that not a line? I took the test by myself in the bathroom.
I mean, where else would you take it?
I ended up sending a picture of it to one of my best friends near my mom's, and I also had shown the father of the baby. The reason I'm going to call him the father of the baby is just because I don't know if he's comfortable with me putting his name out there, and he's not choosing to put this out there. I am. Granted, he's kind of an open book, so he probably wouldn't be entirely against it, but for the sake of respect, I'm just not going to mention his name. So I ended up showing him the test, and I don't know if neither one of us really said much about it. We ended up going over to my cousin's who also was pregnant. She was about to pop though, like she had her baby like 2 weeks later. I took the second test there, and it also came out positive, and so I talked to her kind of about a plan of what I should do, and so the next step was getting the digital one that said pregnant or not pregnant, which I did. So we got the test, then we picked up one of my friends from my hometown that's also pregnant in her 3rd trimester. Now she's about to have her baby at any minute. So I took the test and it came out and said that I was pregnant, which, what do you expect when you have 2 other pregnancy tests to say it was positive? And over the course of the next 2 or 3 days, I ended up taking 5 or 6 more, I don't know. And then I took one like a day or 2 before I went to my OBGYN appointment because that was scheduled for 2 weeks out. However, the next day, I ended up getting blood work done, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself because I then went over to my dad's. We told him that I was pregnant, and at first he thought we were pulling a prank on him because I like to pull that prank on my dad, but this time it was not a prank. He wasn't happy, but he wasn't mad either. He was actually fairly supportive. He just didn't have a lot to say, but he wasn't being mean either. And I think he also respected the fact that we went and told him first. The order in which I told people was very thought out. So at this point, we have 2 of my friends that know. We have my cousins and everyone that was at their house at that time that knew. And the father of the kid, and obviously me. So the next day, I tell my mom, because she's the one that has to say the okay for me to get the blood work done. But she kind of already was suspicious because of the fact that I'd missed my period, and I wasn't worried about it, and every other time I was. Which will add to why I was so skeptical about all of this, and just how it was so confusing for me that I was pregnant. But like I said, I'll make a different video about that. So I got the blood work done, and they were supposed to call me the next day with the results. Somehow, they called my grandma. They said that it was because they tried calling my phone and my mom's, and both said they were disconnected. Made no sense. Me and my mom, we talked on the phone about it, and then it went through one of the times when they called, and I thought it was like the first call. Nope. They had called my grandma. Granted, they couldn't give her the results, they needed to give them to me. But when an OBGYN calls you about your granddaughter's test results, you're gonna be skeptical, especially when she missed her period. So that's kind of how she found out, but I ended up confirming it later that day that I was pregnant because the test results came back and I was pregnant. And that's also how my grandpa found out because if she knew, he knows. I didn't want to tell anyone until I was at least 10 weeks because that's about when I was getting my ultrasound. I wanted to wait till I was in my second trimester, but that just wasn't ideal. Over the course of the next month, I had my first appointment, which said that my due date was August 28th, 2018. And then I also got my first ultrasound, and that confirmed that the due date was correct. Over that time, I told a couple more people, but not a lot. I tried to keep it pretty close. The father of the baby told a few people, and he ended up telling some people that I didn't trust anyways. That ended up leading to more people finding out. And there's also rumors. There's been rumors for like 3 years going around that I was pregnant. Either way, more people are finding out, and I realized soon if I did not tell everyone that they would find out from someone else. So after I got my ultrasound the next day, I posted my announcement that I was having a baby. So this is the poster that I made to announce it. And I'm covering up the name because, again, I don't know if he's okay with me putting his name out there, and it's his last name. So I posted that to Facebook, and that's kind of when the rest of the people found out. Another reason I announced it so soon was because my mom had to come up for my doctor's appointments, and so she had to tell work that she was going for my doctor's appointments, and people were just kind of confused because I used to live with her. Hey, Editing Cat here. I definitely failed to mention that I also work at the same place, and that probably threw people off even more. It was just really weird, like, why do you have to go to your hometown, which is like 3 hours away from where she lives, to take your daughter to a doctor's appointment? Because any other time, if I needed to go to the doctor's, my grandparents would just take me. And not that they wouldn't, but she wanted to be there. The longer we wait, the harder the questions she was getting asked got, and the harder it was to beat around the bush about it, because she didn't want to announce it until I announced it, out of respect for me, and she also didn't want to lie about it because, one, she's not a very good liar. 2, she's not really a person that lies. 3, you don't want to lie to the people you work with. You don't want to lie in general, but especially to the people that you work with. So that's basically how everyone found out I was pregnant. I do have a tip that I've learned from my experience. It's basically that don't tell anyone you're pregnant until you are ready for everyone to know. Excluding the people that are really close to you, like the father of the baby or your parents or whoever you need to tell. But try to keep it in a very small circle if you don't want everyone knowing, because people that you think you can trust, you may not be able to trust. So say I tell someone something, and I ask them not to tell anyone, and I trust them, so I tell them. Then they tell their most trusted person, and then that person tells their most trusted person, all of which promising not to tell anyone else. It kind of just becomes a full circle, and everyone finds out. I think that's something that I should have learned a long time ago, but I didn't because I just was very naive as far as trusting. Now that you shouldn't trust people. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed my video on how I told everyone that I was pregnant at 17. As far as a reaction, everyone was pretty supportive, which was surprising, and obviously they weren't happy about it, but they weren't surprised because me and the kid's father have been on and off for like 3 years, and they've known about like everything that I do. So it wasn't too surprising. Plus, I always thought I was pregnant like all the time, and I never was. But then, boom, I was. So I think it was just that no one was that surprised, and I was really worried that they were going to be really mean about it because I've always been held to pretty high standards because they're just holding me to what they know I'm capable of doing. So I was worried that that was going to be such a disappointment, and so they were just going to be really harsh about it, but they weren't, and they were supportive, and I'm so grateful for the amazing support system that I have, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back whenever I can with the next one. Thanks, bye!